This film explores the Go As You Please exhibition at the National Railway Museum, York. Curators and contributors talk about their experiences of travelling and their involvement in the exhibition. A purple logo shows a ring of rectangles changing into circles, then squares. A title reads, Curating for Change. In the main hangar, sleek modern trains sit alongside historic carriages painted in traditional liveries. Nearby, a young woman sits by a multicoloured display.
I'm Amy, I'm a white woman in her mid-20s. I've got short white and black hair, so I'm the lead curator on the Go As You Please exhibition.
A neon sign of the exhibition title.
Go As You Please is an exhibition about disabled people's experience of travel, but I think there's a bit of me in there as well, because I've wanted to utilise these landscape artworks and these paintings that, to me, being in the landscape as a disabled person is extremely freeing.
In an Art Deco style poster, a young woman with short hair leans smiling into the wind as clouds race across a blue sky behind her.
Take, for example, the woman on the beach there with her arms open. To me, that's how it feels to be out in the landscape as a disabled person, because it's almost like breaking free of your body, almost. Like, my body has limitations, but when I'm in the middle of, the Yorkshire Dales and the wind's blowing and there's no one else around, that's where I feel the most free.
On an upper level of the hangar, Amy sits surrounded by a circle of visitors who applaud.
For too long, disabled people's stories have been told by non-disabled people. So the idea was that this series of exhibitions with Curating for Change is that we involve real disabled people. So I recruited various members of the community from York who have lived experience of disability, deafness or neurodivergence. So we spoke to them about their experiences of travelling by train, and we got their responses to some of the artworks, and there's a few of them who donated some objects to go on display. So someone donated a bag and someone donated a ticket, and someone donated a photograph for us to put on display. So it's so that, I guess, the stories that we're telling have that human aspect and have that authenticity to them.
Charles, a young person with short hair, stands by a display.
Disability is so diverse. For example, my disabilities that I have are going to be so different to someone else's. So you can't really just go and hire one disabled person and say, there, we've done it, we did it, we've done diversity, we've solved it. Having a variety of disabled perspectives involved in the project means that everyone gets their voices heard.
Their donation.
This was a bag that I brought a couple of years back. It was just when COVID was starting to alleviate. Because of my asthma and because of just general anxiety, I found it really hard to go outside. I felt really anxious because I was scared of COVID. I was scared of it worsening my asthma or my postural tachycardia syndrome. And in general, I was also really anxious about my objects. I really wanted to make sure I had everything on me: my inhaler, pain medication, my wallet, my keys, my phone, lip balm, all these different things which every single time I went outside, I'd have to keep a mental check of. And so buying this bag took a lot of that weight off of my mind, and it was kind of the first step to me going, okay, I'm going to start going outside, I'm going to start traveling more, I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm not going to hide away. I'm going to find a way to get over those fears in the way that I think is appropriate for me to get over those fears.
So I guess what my idea is curatorially is that I want to look at everyday objects or non-disabled objects through the lens of disability.
Visitors study paintings on 2 display boards, and a woman sits before a multicoloured screen.
Hello, I'm Josie and I have severe sight loss. I'm female, late 60s, and I've got short, sort of greying bobbed hair. So it's really interesting meeting Amy, a curator. I've never met a curator of a museum before. They've got that lived experience and they can bring different aspects to creating an exhibition or whatever, and they see it from a different point of view, and they were more likely to take everybody's needs, not everybody I suppose, but most needs into account and be very aware and understanding and considerate of other people's needs, really.
Hayley, an artist with long blonde hair, stands by their painting in the exhibition.
I'm neurodivergent. I find travelling really, really hard. And it wasn't until sort of like last year that I realised you can get something called a sunflower lanyard.
It reads Hidden Disabilities.
I've been travelling with one of those ever since, and it's made me feel a little bit more confident, because if I'm travelling and I'm experiencing uncomfortability or feeling a certain way, I can reach out to one of the staff members, like a rail staff person, and they usually know and they can kind of help support me. And so I wanted to create a piece in response to that and sort of highlight the sunflower lanyard, because I think not many people know about it, even I didn't know about it. So yeah, I wanted to raise awareness, and the piece obviously uses the colours of that. And I wanted it to, the central figure to sort of be a traveller and a neurodivergent, a deaf, a disabled person who is feeling like they can travel.
The abstract figure with arms and legs spread like arches holds up a huge sunflower.
It makes me feel like things are shifting, like things are changing. It makes me feel a part of the community.
A steam engine.
I'm Judith McNichol, Director of the National Railway Museum. I'm about 5'2", with short dark hair, and I'm in my early-ish 50s. Having curators coming to work with us with different lived experiences really helps us learn and evolve all the time. You know, we can't stand still, our visitors aren't standing still. We have to change all the time, and bringing in curators with those types of lived experiences helps us change how we are approaching everything we're doing across the museum, from how we work in our offices right the way through to what's on the gallery floor for our visitors.
Charlotte, a woman with long dark hair, stands on a low stage.
I really love that title, Curating for Change, because that's what this exhibition is all about. It is about change. It is about changing the way that this museum speaks about its collections. It's about changing the way we speak about the topic of rail and disability. It's changed how we reflect on those objects, and it's brought new voices into dialogue with those collections to give birth to different insights and different ideas.
And we're here to celebrate and appreciate the fantastic work of our fellow Amy Thraves Connor. When you think of a railway museum, you probably don't really think about their art collection. So the other unexpected thing about Go As You Please is that on first glance, these artworks don't really have an obvious connection to disability. However, Amy, through her own lived experience and by involving other people with their lived experience, has brought a completely new lens through which to examine these works.
I really want to break away from looking at disability in that narrow way and thinking, oh, you know, we can only talk about disability in relation to wheelchairs or prosthetic limbs or, you know, that kind of thing. So we as disabled people exist in the world, and we interact with the world every single day, and we interact with every object in the world. So therefore, every object that exists in the world can be viewed as a disability object.
Visitors applaud Esther and Amy.
If we involve real disabled people, we get to see the reality of what it's like to be disabled, and it's not all about tragedy and it's not all about charity. Like, reading the labels and reading the stories that we've got on display here, like yes, there are difficulties, but there's also joy and there's also happiness, and like, we're just people who happen to be disabled.
Amy talks with Charles and others in a small group gathered around her. A fade to black reveals the purple logo, Curating for Change. Credits: filmmaker Oliver Parkin, assistant filmmaker Rowan Scully, producers Esther Fox and Ruth Gard, British Sign Language interpreter Marcel Hirschman, audio description Eleni Hadjidaniel and Ian Turton, with thanks to all our fellows, co-producers and museum partners. Further logos appear in order top to bottom on the black background. Screen South, and a purple capital A with the word Accentuate in its crossbar. The crossed finger logo of the National Lottery Heritage Fund. The circular badge of Arts Council England, supported using public funding. The logo for Art Fund. Funded by the UK Government.